Israel has carried out an unannounced missile test in the Mediterranean, sparking an alert in light of a military build-up in the region for a potential strike on Syria. The confirmation came after the launch of 2 rockets was detected by Russian radars. RT's Igor Piskunov has the details.
The missiles were launched at around 5 a.m. GMT in the Mediterranean, apparently in the central part of the sea, and then headed towards its eastern coast. And this was detected by Russia's early warning system and then reported by the Defense Ministry. At first, no one else could officially confirm that this happened, including Israel and the U.S. But then we've heard from the Israeli Defense Ministry, which announced that this was a test of the new anti-missile defense system. They say it was conducted with the assistance of Washington, although this still hasn't been confirmed by the United States. Israel says that a military plane fired a rocket, which was then intercepted or shut down by an interceptor missile. Now, this raises lots of questions over the timing of such tests and how appropriate they are at the moment in that area in the Mediterranean, very close to Syria, with the whole country and the region around it currently being flooded with tension and concern over a possible military intervention into the situation there by the West, although most NATO members have said that they're not planning to take part in any military action against President Assad's regime. France and the U.S. seem to be ready to do so. In fact, earlier, President Obama said that Washington may start a military operation without the approval of the UN. Although he did say he wanted to consult with Congress. But less than 24 hours ago, we've heard from U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, who said that in this situation, the approval of the Congress isn't really essential. Now, this brings us back to the timing of Tuesday's launches. Many military analysts now say that what happened today may have not only been aimed at testing some new military hardware, but also at checking how much time it takes for possibly Syrian authorities to react to the situation, and even possibly to see how much time it takes for Russia's early warning system to react as well. Or, in other words, how much time it takes for these missiles to be detected. But clearly, this only increased the tensions and uncertainty in the region as the international military buildup also continues.
Meanwhile, there's a massive U.S. and allied naval deployment in the eastern Mediterranean off Syria's coastline, as well as in the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea. Russia's also sending warships to the troubled region, but denies it's squaring up to America. Let's now take a detailed look at the U.S. fleet there. 5 U.S. destroyers loaded with missiles, along with an amphibious assault ship, are already in the Mediterranean, poised for a potential strike. In addition, an aircraft carrier group moved to the Red Sea from the Indian Ocean to support an attack on Syria if ordered. The supercarrier, the USS Nimitz, is one of the largest warships in the world. At more than 300 meters long, it's powered by nuclear reactors and has 90 planes and helicopters on board. It's accompanied by a cruiser and 3 destroyers. The U.S. military buildup in the region is taking place ahead of a congressional debate next week on whether to support Barack Obama's decision to strike Syria. That's as the chorus of those against Washington's military involvement is growing at home, and now apparently it's even been joined by some servicemen. That's judging by images uploaded on social media. People wearing military uniform are seen brandishing posters saying they did not join up to fight for al-Qaeda in Syria. While the pictures can't be verified, already the Pentagon's reportedly looking into the identities of those involved. Meanwhile, veteran Gordon Duff explained to us why many within the U.S. military are not eager to support the Syrian rebels.
50 to 70% of Americans are clearly opposed to operations against Syria, and members of the military particularly lost 5,000 killed fighting the same groups in Iraq that we're advocating that we support in Syria. So members of the military from either side, and there are clear divisions in the military, both the left and the right, none of them have any reason to want to support Syrian rebels. President Obama has gotten himself painted into a corner. There is no way out.
Meanwhile, in the Syrian capital, the prospect of U.S.-led strikes is not what's scaring people the most. RT's Maria Finoshna reports now from Damascus.
We were last time in Damascus a year ago. Now we've returned and we decided to meet some of the people we previously interviewed for our report. But sadly, many of them have either fled the chaos or were killed. One of those who died was Mohamed Rafi, a young and very successful, very famous actor who was also an ardent activist. He chose words to defend his country and he was killed for that.
We met Mohammed in July 2012 during the filming of one of the most popular Syrian TV dramas, where he played one of the leading roles. Syrian series used to be financially backed by the Gulf states. But after the conflict erupted here, those countries, vocal critics of the Assad regime, withdrew investment from an industry that's made Syria famous across the Arab world.
They want to fight everything good in Syria. They don't want us to be to show our drama to the world, to show our history, the way we live, the way we love each other, the way we take care of each other. That's why they stopped. They are fighting us, actually.
Exactly 10 months after Mohammed's death, we meet his brother Noor.
That evening, a guy who was supposed to be a friend of Mohammed asked him for a lift somewhere. Mohammed would help this boy a lot because he was poor. Then 9 people appeared out of nowhere and grabbed him. The next day we got an anonymous tip that he had been killed and his body had been cut into pieces. We didn't believe that. He's only a civilian, we thought. Why would anybody kill him? Several days later, his body was found. He was killed with 3 bullets, one to his leg, one to the stomach, and one to his neck. During the kidnapping, they wanted to take him alive, to torture him, and to force him to confess that he was working for the government, and then show that to Al Jazeera. Of course, they pay a lot of money for that sort of thing. But he resisted, to the death. When they took him, they also took his car. It's common that such cars are later used in terror attacks. About 3 weeks ago, we got news there'd been a car bombing, and that was Mohammed's car.
Noor, your brother died 10 months ago, exactly 10 months ago. Why you think he was killed?
He talked openly about what he thought.
How did the life here in Syria, in Damascus, change in the last 10 months?
After Mohammed's death, many people who supported the opposition changed their minds. They knew that he was very kind and helped people, all people, regardless of their beliefs. So when he died, they asked themselves, what are those people who belong to the opposition doing if they kill innocent civilians? Some of them are nothing more than criminals.
What do you think about a possible airstrike that America is now planning?
I smile when they tell me about the American attack. We Syrians are only afraid of God. We're not afraid of the US.
Noor showed us another, this time empty grave in the cemetery. The boy's father, who is also a well-known actor living in Damascus, has already reserved it for himself. Marifin Oshnati from Damascus, Syria.